Is it fair to say that Iowa, even with that inept offense and Brian Ferentz running it without a quarterback, without their two tight ends, which I thought were going to be their best receivers and All and Lachey, are on their way to a possible 10-2 season? Can you believe that?
Why not 11-1?
I mean, I'm giving them. I'm saying there's a game in there that they could lose, but yeah, I mean, could you imagine with that offense getting to 11-1, Mark?
They, with last weekend's performance, officially dropped to dead last in the country in total offense. They're dead last, and they're at about 250 yards per game, like 242. They could repeat that over and over and over every week, win just like they do all the time. And they're playing, what are they, 6-1? That's 7 games, 5 left. Illinois, Northwestern, Minnesota, Nebraska, and Rutgers.
Mark, that means if an 11-1 Iowa gets to Indianapolis, they're essentially playing for a trip to the college football playoff.
I am sizing that up in my head, David.
Think about that in your mind.
You're going to see a video here in the next day or so, because I'm going to look at that. I don't know that it's that clear cut. Their perfect scenario, maybe I'm ruining my video, in my eyes, is they want Penn State to go to the Big Ten championship game. Well, first of all, let's understand that most Iowans, including probably Kirk Ferentz himself, doesn't even think about the college football playoff. That doesn't even register with them. But for those that are dreaming, and I say that in a good way, I say that in an optimistic, like you should be dreaming way, that the best formula is they want Penn State to win the East so they can get the rematch victory. That's what they need. Because otherwise, if they get the 3-way tie in the East, let's say, and Michigan emerges, well, that's a great win, but that's going to be their only win. And then they're going to have to compete there. They're going to have to compare Iowa's resume against an 11-1 Ohio State and 11-1 Penn State that beat them by 31 points. They won't make the playoff.
No, you're right. I mean, I know. I looked at the schedule at the beginning of the year, and I was like, 9-3 is a possibility here.
That's what I picked them.
But it's just like, well, I mean, I didn't think they could go to Madison and win, but it's unfortunate. Mordecai, I think, going to be out for the year with that broken hand, Mark. I just saw that.
Yeah,
that's an unfortunate situation there. I didn't think Wisconsin was in that bad a shape because I never thought their loss at Washington State was that bad of a loss. Although, where's Washington State at right now? I thought that they'd bounce back, and I thought they'd win that game at home. But I watched part of that game, and it was a pretty unbearable football to watch. But that was rough. But that's how Iowa's got to win. They've got to win that way. It's interesting. Brian Ferentz could get to Indianapolis, not achieve his goal. But like you guys were talking on Buckeye Talk today, how do you fire an offensive coordinator that's 11-1 and has his team playing for a chance to make the playoff?
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah.
They keep falling short of their goal. So I'll do the math here at some point during this show. He's got to be 25 or 30 points below his threshold that he needs to hit because they keep missing it. So they're attacking on 3 and 4 and obviously 10 on Saturday, only scoring 15 points. And this is so ludicrous. Basically, the offense made one play the entire game.
Right.
They ripped off a 75-yard touchdown run. Other than that, they had 37 yards passing. And their rushing game really did next to nothing besides that. And if you look at their field goal drives, they were like 9 yards. One of them was negative yardage. And their defense created everything.
Yeah, it's pathetic.
It's unbelievable. I can't get over it. We talk about it every week, but it just continues. You would think it would become less of an aberration and they would regress a little bit more toward the mean, but no, they continue to push it to the
Well,
limit.
I mean, once I mean, not that McNamara was anything special, and when you build an offense around tight ends, although some would say Georgia's offense is built around a tight end, and boy, was that bad news for them today.
Yeah, but they
Uh,
have weapons.
that's
It's
true.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
really
that's a false. Well, but what I'm saying is their best receiver is their tight end,
sure.
though. In the past I've been somewhat dubious of offenses that where their best receiver is tight end. But you're right, Georgia has things called a running game and a really good offensive line, and in things that obviously Iowa just doesn't. Obviously, even a better quarterback. That's not even close. But yeah, you're right. A lot more talent in the different areas. I guess I was just speaking in general about the passing game being more built around a tight end rather than down the field threats.